Hi, welcome back to Rainy Dewey's Art Spot. My name is Lorraine. My nickname is Rainy. You can call me Rainy. This video I'm going to be doing today is focusing on color mixing again. Mixing another set of color complements, red and green. They're across from one another on the color wheel, and so if you want to neutralize one, say you have a harsh green, sometimes those tube paints that are green are so unrealistic that you really need to gray them down. So you would go across the color wheel and you would choose red, and you would mix those two together in varying degrees and get yourself a nice little green. So this video is going to focus just on those two colors, and this time I'm trying to stay, I decided I needed to get away from doing the landscapes just for a minute, and so we're going to be doing painting a green bottle. So I'm going to be painting glass, and I'm also working on a 300-pound Arches cold press. The reason I had to do it this time is because the camera wouldn't fit with my piece of plexiglass and so forth. So I'm like, okay, let's use some of that 300-pound paper. Now this paper is really thick, you can see it. So what I ended up having to do with the 300-pound cold press is I'll get to a stage in the painting where I actually have to just walk away and for a while and let it dry. You can let things dry naturally, which I prefer, or you can use a hair dryer to dry things. I'm not always that keen on that. It tends to dry them sometimes in funky ways, and you might end up with a bloom or whatever. But with the 300-pound paper, you don't have to tape it down to a surface. It is so rigid, and so that's why I'm using it for this particular project. So we're going to be painting a bottle and some marbles, still using two colors, red and green, not just for Christmas. So anyway, grab your paints, or if you're just going to follow along and take notes, grab a notebook, or just watch. So anyway, let's get going. There I am trying to get cat hair off the paper. I've got Lovey, my cat, and he just leaves his fur everywhere. Little bits of it in the paint, some of it sticking to the paper. There's the bottle that I'm going to be painting. The photograph is taken from a different vantage point. The bottle itself is actually sitting on my painting table, so I'm looking down on it. You'll notice that I'm doing a light sketch on the paper, directly on the watercolor paper with a 2H pencil, and then that rubbery eraser does a pretty good job of removing and correcting without defacing the paper, although the 300-pound paper is a little bit less forgiving. I notice as I look at the bottle's a little bit too short, but we're not going to worry about that. What I'm doing there is I'm saving the highlights by using a masking fluid. And so what you'll do with that is I have an old brush, I soap it up, and then I dip it into the masking fluid. The masking fluid needs to be let dry completely, and that way you can do nice washes over it like I'm doing there. Sorry about the glare from my light and my camera. So those highlights that I'm saving, the only other way to do it is you can use masking tape and cut shapes and tape them to your paper, or paint around the highlights, which is hard, or try to lift them off later. But lifting them off never brings the paper right back to white. And for the highlights on, certain things, glass and fruit and things like that, you want to leave those whites So after I did my samples, my red and green samples using Hooker's Green and a variety of reds, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to get the green that I needed from just the two, Hooker's Green and Quinacridone Red. So I had to tap into using Quinacridone Red, Hooker's Green, and Sap Green. And those, it's still a green and red combination, and that gave me a color that's a little closer to the actual bottle than I would have been able to get with just mixing Quinacridone Red and Hooker's Green. So here I am, I'm just building. I will be painting in layers, and as I said at the beginning, there's going to come a stage in this painting when I'm just going to have to stop. The paper will need to dry completely because I'm going to do another layer, another glaze. It's called glazing. When you let the whole paper dry completely, you're going to know your paper is completely dry when it's if it's cool to the touch, it's not dry, and if it's still buckling, it's not dry. You'll see there I had a couple of little areas that were bleeding out into the paper. This 300-pound paper is very textured, and so some of the paint was leaking. So I have these stiff bristle brushes that I gently went onto the side of the bottle, wet it, dabbed with a paper towel, and tried to remove those little bits that were going rogue. And here I am just building. The masking fluid is still on the bottles. I'll be removing that toward the end. And there I am glazing. Another layer of clear water, and then I add some more greens, some more of the bottle color. When you're painting glass, I think it's helpful to me to not think about it as glass, but just to look at the whole thing as a value. So you're looking at it, even though you can see through it and it's transparent, you can see through the front of the bottle to the back of the bottle, it really is just a value. So if you can try to do that with a lot of things, separate yourself from the reality of, oh my God, I'm trying to paint glass, and just look at it as darks and lights and interpret it that way. That's a helpful approach for me. And there I'm just using almost raw Hooker's Green without mixing any of the red into it for some of those marbles. And the marbles, I could have put a little bit of the masking fluid on their highlights, and then I could have done a more dramatic wash over them and made them pop a little bit. So there I removed the masking fluid off of the paper, and I cleaned the rubber eraser off, and then I used it to remove it. I could have been a little more careful about how I applied that masking fluid as a highlight. You can see that I'm struggling with the top of the bottle, trying to figure out how to get that roundness. So you can just keep after it. You just keep practicing. As I watch this, I can see where I should have stopped, and some perspective problems, but they're good exercises. This is good practice. So maybe I'll try it again, try to make it more accurate. It's like anything else really in life. You just need to practice and be persistent. This bottle has some printing on it. I think it says federal law forbids resale. It had another 2 layers of words on the top. I eliminated them, and I actually just tried to do a gesture of the words. I didn't want to write it out. completely. And we're anchoring the whole thing with some shadows, and that's that. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it.